Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Printing's Alive. And today we are blessed with a guest. We have John Bailey of Precision Proco out of the UK. How you doing there?
Doing really good, and nice to be blessed with a guest. I like it.
And I just made that up as I was going, so I probably won't remember to ever use that again. So it'll be your welcome when we do it.
Good, thank you.
Great. So thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Part of what I'm trying to do is just get everyone in the world of print to come on and talk with me about anything print, because print touches everybody in the world. And my really belief is without us, without print, the world does not exist.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And look, I'm right in the middle of peak season, so if I talk quick, it's because I've got stuff on. But I can definitely back that up, because right now we're batshit crazy on volume. So people are definitely being touched by print at the moment over peak season.
Cool. So, I want to compliment you on the website because it's pink and I happen to like pink, although I'm wearing a D-Scoop sweater. Some merch, just so you folks know, when you give me merch, I wear it and it advertises you get it. And I didn't wear it because it's you and you're part of D-Scoop. But I do love the website. Okay, so let's get into it. Tell me about Precision Proco, because you guys have a bit of a story. You've done many things, you do many things, and I believe you've positioned the company to be in a really good place for what's going on in the world and where we're going.
Yeah, look, we know the print's changing. It's been changing for years. Everyone thinks it's dead. It's completely not dead. It's just completely different, right? So you just have to approach it different. You have to address customer issues different, and you got to keep moving. That's what we believe in. The only thing we've been consistent at is change, and the whole business has been geared up to understanding that get ready because tomorrow is going to be different. So we try and move very quickly. We've done some mergers, we've done some acquisitions, we've sort of got ourselves and navigated through lots of different places to where we are now. And now we are a business, we call ourselves basically human-driven, tech-enabled, smart production. That's really what we're about. So it's about celebrating human design and creativity, not over-processing stuff. It's about automation and being smart and using tech to enable and amplify the good stuff we're about, which is the creativity piece. So we're in all spaces in print, Warren. We're in mass customized consumer market, in book of one. We're in POS and in-store retail, and we're in direct mail and commercial work as well.
So just two things quickly. I like that I don't see equipment on your website when I go to it. And that's a message really to every other printer who's listening. Yes, as owners, we love equipment, but the people that we sell, they have no idea about it.
They don't give a shit, right? We talk about us giving a shit. Our customers don't give a shit about what we're producing stuff on. So they want to know what we're going to do with it, what it's going to do for their business, and how we're going to make them look good, right? And we talk about making it easy to choose and easy to use. That's all they care about. Can I buy print from you as easy as it is for me to go on there and click on an email? If I can, and you're going to get me a better return than that email, then I'm going to use you. And that's basically it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's great. And then, the marketing. Tell me what you do, because this is another area that a lot of printers, I'll say most printers, don't market themselves, yet we do all the marketing stuff for every major brand and agency in the world. Yeah. What do you guys do to market yourself?
Well, it's a bit like a builder's porch, right? When you go to a builder's house, it's their house is normally the last one that gets done. And I think us as printers, suffer from the same thing because we're so busy looking after our customer marketing. What we do is we start with what we call a force multiplier, which is a military term, which is basically you don't send in the ground troops until you've sent in the airplanes, right, to get rid of the infrastructure. So what we'll do is we'll highlight who we're after, we'll highlight what market we're after, and then we'll subliminally market to those people, whether we sponsor a roundabout outside their house or we make sure that when they're driving to work, they see the billboard with our name on it. So by the time I send the ground troops in, they might have sat next to me at a dinner, or they might have heard my name mentioned in an awards do that we've sponsored that they're involved with. So by the time my ground troops ring up and they say, we're ringing from Precision Proco, they're like, I know about you guys. I've heard about this. We try and sort of do it and break it down. And then we also, we talk content. We don't sell to people. We tell them the stuff we're doing, right? So what have we done that's interesting? What have we done from other customers? And we get customers to talk about us. And because we're all the same, right? When we're buying kit, we want to hear from another supplier's customer before we buy. No matter what. We
want to hear from the manufacturer.
We want to hear from the manufacturer, which is what D-Scoop's all about. I won't talk about D-Scoop, but that's what D-Scoop's about, is let's listen from my peers what's good and what's not good. and we want the same from our customers. So we find that works.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, if I go back in time, and maybe I was I'm always ahead of my time, but we used to do tons of samples of different things that we were doing because we were buying different equipment and UV and iGen 5s and whatever. And I would say to the team, let's just go with our ideas and show people. Don't ask them if they have anything to quote. Let the other morons ask them what they have to quote, because then they sound like they just want to take an order. If you go in there regularly and show them what you're doing and you're excited and you're passionate, they're going to remember that they have something to quote, and then they're going to ask you.
Yeah, there's two phrases we use a lot. One is I don't know what the swearing language thing is, so I'll try and keep it down, but we work effing hard to make it look this casual, right? That's one of our things. So we want people to think it's casual, but we work incredibly hard at all the detail to make it really slick. And the other thing is that no one's ever left us for giving them a bad idea, right? So no customer's ever said, didn't like that idea, so I'm leaving you. That doesn't work. It doesn't happen. They want more ideas. So we push innovation, push new stuff to them. We have a customer suite on site here where we bring them in and we do training sessions on data, how to get more out of your data, how to get more out of your print, what new finishes there are. And we bring in third-party vendors and partners who we work with on embellishment, what can be done there to add value, on new technology. And we just try and stimulate the minds in what's possible.
I think it's in the old days, they used to call them lunch and learns.
Yes, they did. Lunch and learns, yeah.
Yeah, but that's an old term. How many employees do you have?
About 450. Yeah, I know. Did you notice I stayed really firm when you asked me that?
Yeah, because you're bolted to the... No, so 450 if the average family is 4 people. So you're really employing and looking after 1,600 people.
Yeah.
With their families.
Yeah, and that burden is heavy.
Well, I think any owner who's really into his business carries that burden, because you care for the people. Yeah. It's always what came first, the chicken or the egg. I think in our world, nothing moves without everybody working together.
Yeah, and you think about it when you think of our production, right? So on our peak day this year, it'll probably be round about the 20. Well, probably a couple of days time, right at the end of November. We'll probably produce on one day 2 million items in one day that have got to go out the door on a 2-day SLA, right? If you've got 450 people and you're reliant on 2 million items going out correct, because little Johnny needs the correct card, right? Not someone else's card that may be not appropriate, for example. You got to have these people. They've got to have your back, and you've got to have theirs, and you've got to trust them, because there's no way you can deliver that without it. So,
oh my God, no.
So yeah, it's a thing we take very serious. And you mentioned about being in the business. I'm in, right? This is not one of those businesses where I sit around and wait for things to happen. We have to keep on it and keep working on it and supporting the people.
You say you're in, to everybody listening, especially owners. I think that's important, because if you're not in, then you don't have the leadership.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like I tell everybody, any company, before they start something, a marketing plan, a business plan, a whatever campaign, if the CEO, the president, the owner is not in at the top, excited and passionate about it, he cannot expect his team to succeed with it in the way that he's thinking.
Yeah, and we talked about it a minute ago at the start about the change. It's so much change going on, and if you're not in the lead of that change and comfortable in that change and showing that you are in control of that change, it very quickly in our world becomes chaotic. And when it becomes chaotic, people worry, and then when worry kicks in, people don't know which direction, and they might trust you and want to work for you, but if they haven't got that clear direction, it's very easy these days with the speed of change to go off grid. So you've got to be really, really focused, I think.
But you got to be focused, and you got to keep them in the game, because when they turn their head for a second, our equipment's moving so fast. There's a cost to that. Lose your concentration.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Right. So you want to keep.
And they're also up against loads of stuff. I mentioned about being human driven. But my point on that and with the AI and tech is to amplify it, right? And as businesses, not just us, not just our industry, but we are guilty of it as well. We're driving these KPIs and SLAs because we have to, because production and management margin is so tight, right? So you've got to get those efficiencies. But the minute you over process and you cross over that creativity curve, you're done for, because you don't. If you lose the human element of creativity, even in a production environment, you become the same as everyone else that's always going to also automate. And when everybody's automated and everybody's AI'd up to the max and everybody's doing the same stuff and it's all good enough and this kind of stuff, when that happens, the only difference maker is the personalities and the creativity of the people you got. So if you lose that, you won't get it back. So I think that's a big lesson for us.
Oh, I totally agree. So now, next question is based on that. Is you said 450 family members. How do you work the culture? What is your culture, and how do you maintain a good feeling, a sense of family? Because it gets harder. I mean, I remember when I had a few people, and then it got a little more and a little more. I always made it a point, because I learned from an elder gentleman that he knew the name of every person in his company.
Yeah.
And when you bump up to someone, when you bump into someone, or you're introducing someone, and you can introduce every person in your company when you're walking a customer through, it makes the people working for you feel pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's hard with that many people.
Look, it is becoming harder. I don't know whether that's because I'm getting older and my memory's going, or whether it's just the amount of people, right? But there's that as well. So I can walk around. I can walk around and I know everybody and I recognise them. Do I know everybody's name at 450? Probably not, if the truth be known. And we have a lot of foreign workers now as well, which makes it even more complicated, right? With respect. So
yes.
But what we try and do is I like to run the business in a very straight way, right? I'm very straight with people. I address situations very quickly. There's no such thing as a hard conversation if it's a genuine conversation. And I truly believe that. So I drive that through my leadership team, who are responsible for all departments, and we run that in a high trust contract. So if things are green and good, you don't need to tell me, because I trust you. If it's red, that's when you flag it. And if we mess something up, you flag it, we jump on it, and we help each other out. So we have that kind of relationship where it's a trust thing. And then what we try and do is we drive it through the different sites. So we make sure all the sites are consistent and they're familiar, but they also have their own unique personality. So London is a different personality than Sheffield, because it's a different region, a different area, but still consistent. But we have all our numbers visible on all the sites. So what are our sales? What are they working on? Everyone has 90-day plans, and they're all visible, so people can see my 90-day plan, what I'm working on. And so we just try and give that clarity, and we make people realize, we've all got a responsibility and we've all got a job to do, and we try and treat each other like the next customer. That's a big thing. So I try and work with my leadership team to give them what I would if they were my customer, and we try and do that above and beyond. So it's you create a culture of trying to make each other succeed rather than help each other to fail. Do you know what I mean? And that's a big shift.
I want to promote to everybody, and it's one of the things that I offer is to discuss with owners, the culture in their business, and to even review it. I mean, when I started my business and I had my business, we were 10 people. It was one thing, 30, 50, 90, 120. It changes. But I was so conscious, maybe because I was younger. And I mean, listen, we had all young people. Everyone was going to the same raves on the weekend. So it's a little hard to pretend to be different on Monday when you're all feeling the same. But when you make people feel good, when people feel good, they do more, and they do more because they feel good, not because they have to.
Yeah, my experience in people is most people want to come to work, do a really good job, feel like they've delivered, be appreciated for delivering, and go home feeling like they've done a good day's work at all levels, right? Me, everyone wants to do that. That's becoming harder and harder in business because we expect so much, and there's no time to celebrate anymore, because no sooner do you do something really well, you're having to squeeze even more fun out of it, right? Because we're not allowed to have fun anymore because the world's gone crazy. So you have to try and, I believe, we have to create more of those water cooler moments again, more of those sitting in the canteen chatting, more of what did you watch on telly last night. And if anything good's going to come from the AI technology shift, it's that. We'll use AI to amplify the time that humans can have talking to humans again and feeling like they're going home, like they've done a good job. And that's the best thing about it.
I'm going to run a campaign that says bring back the water cooler.
Totally.
Right,
because you've got to create the moments of clashing together.
And with all the, I don't want to insult anybody, but with all the liberal movements and talks and everything out there, you'll hear from comedians. They can't be comedians anymore because you can't even tell the joke.
Yeah.
Right? I want to go back to telling jokes.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to telling jokes where everyone takes the joke as a joke, because that's what it's meant for. Don't analyze it.
Look, I get things change and the world's changed. I'll be honest. I think we're really lucky. We've got a business here where I feel like people can talk and have fun and enjoy themselves. Of course, it's stressful times, right? You can never be doing that all the time. But actually, we've managed to keep a lot of that old-fashioned business mentality in. All the bad stuff's gone. It's health and safety good, diversity's good. Looking after people's good. care, mental health and well-being is great. All the stuff, the good stuff that's come from these changes is all there, but we've managed to keep the ability to have a laugh as well, because I think you can't do this without trying to do that. I mean, interestingly, we've just had a session now before I joined this, where my manufacturing director is celebrating his 25th anniversary today of being here today, and we've just gone down and presented him something downstairs, and the shop floor stopped and come over, and there's 100 people.
You didn't give him a watch, did you?
No watch.
Okay, good.
At the time, I don't want him clocking off, right? But we give him this card. You know, it wasn't even a money thing. We just stopped and we all spent 10 minutes just to celebrate him, and we did, and it was just lovely because 100 all the press just stopped for a minute.
Yes. And how happy did he smile, and how big was his, just for the appreciation?
I hate this. You shouldn't do this. I hate it. And you could tell.
That's why we're doing it. You hate it.
And he was perfect. And he sent an email after saying, I love this place. I would never be anywhere else. And it's just, stuff like that. And so that is the sort of stuff I do make the time for. And I always do an intro for new starters. So every month or two, I do a new starter session where I sit and meet all the new starters, and we talk and we introduce each other, and we talk about
very cool
history and I talk about how the business started, because I say, you come here, you think we're like Amazon, right? But this is my house. So when I see things on the floor like rubbish, I pick it up because I spend more time.
Oh my God.
I clean the toilets. If the toilets are blocked, I'll clean the toilets. There's no hierarchy, because this is my house. And if you're in my house, I expect you to treat my house. But likewise, I treat you the same. And we have that with every new starter.
It's so funny that you say my house, because I remember one year I went to Japan to visit one of the manufacturers, RMGT or RGMT, my dyslexia kicks in. Yeah. And when I went there, I was just blown away on how they operate, how precise, how clean everything was. I was taking pictures everywhere. And when I got home, and it was crazy because of the whole jet lag thing. So I'm up at like 3, 4 in the morning and nothing to do. So what do? I go to the office. I walk around the plant, and I am rip-roaring mad. The place looks like a pigsty. When you're finished on the cutter, why did you not pick that paper up? Whatever. Yeah. Anyways, first thing I do, 7 o'clock, everyone comes in. I call a big meeting in the room for everybody. And I tell them, I want to tell you about my trip. And I want to tell you what I learned and what I saw. Yeah. And I got all these great pictures of places and doing and whatever, and then I bring up the warehouse and the factory, and I start going, oh my, look how clean that is. Look how clean it is. And then I turn around and I'm like, folks, this is my house. If you want to live in my house, all I ask is that you respect it. Yeah. Or are you okay if I come to your house and walk with my shoes on the couch?
You know what? I think what happens in a lot of businesses now, we recruit people. I have various things about recruitment. I have the coffee cup test, for example. So if you come for an interview with us, and you have a cup of coffee and we're talking, if at the end of that interview you don't offer to take your cup to the cleaner and you leave it on the table, you don't even get a second interview. It doesn't matter how good you are, right? Because you interview for culture, you don't interview for talent. I got the talent thing. We can do the experience. If you're not the type of person to do that, if you're not the type of person to offer to take your cup, you're not in the right place for me.
Mm-hmm. Is awesome. That reminds me of hearing the story about Zappos hiring in Vegas. Yeah. And they would fly people in, and they would all put them in the same truck, and the person driving was actually head of HR. Yeah. And just listening to the conversations, listening to the interaction, I remember reading one where one guy was talking negatively to another person, and this and that, and when they got to the place, that person never made it beyond the reception area.
I always remember, you know what, I won't mention any names to protect the innocent. I'm sure they're not listening now, but I always remember I was on holiday, and I was driving back from holiday, and I needed to pop into work. So I had my flip-flops and shorts on, right? And you know how old this was, because I was on the shop floor in flip-flops and shorts, which you never can do.
Allowed. Yeah.
So I'd stopped in and I walked onto the shop floor, and I looked obviously bedraggled, and my then production director was on the shop floor talking to a new employee who just started that morning. And as I walked over, I said to the guy, how you doing, to my production director? And this dude looked at me up and down, and he said, who the hell are you? And you could see the face of the other guy going, oh my. I said, I'm no one. He went, oh, right, okay. And he just sort of ignored me, blanked me. And I just said to the other guy, he's gone. So what I said, you're gone now, out. Well, I said, out. I own this place. You talk to me because you think, oh, I'm sorry, but nice to meet you. I said, no. You talk to me
That,
the same as you talk to everyone else. Out, and he
that
left.
was
I marched him
that
out.
was undercover boss
Exactly.
without a film crew.
But I marched him out, and you could see everyone going, "Oh no, why did you do that?" No, that's it. But I think that sort of stuff's important. And we jump back to saying about getting people on the slot. It's not people's fault, right? And this is the bit print people make mistake of. They sit and they moan about employees, and they sit and they slag each other off, and then they don't address the situation, and that's just cancerous, and it just creates the wrong culture. We don't do that. If I've got a problem with you, you know about it, and you know about it in a very fair way, which is I'm going to give you an opportunity to solve it. But right now, that's where I'm feeling, and we've got to solve it or not, right? And I'm very adamant about that. People say you're so direct and so strict. I say, yeah, but no one's falling out on me because they know where they stand, and it's really fair. And the bit that people know is if like what I'll do is when they come and people don't know it's your house, they don't understand that once upon a time you had 4 employees and you were here till midnight booking jobs in because it's a startup, it's a privately owned. They don't know that because they turn up and they see these big offices, they see 400 people, they go, there's money everywhere. They don't know. So I show them the building. I show them the building that I moved into. I show them my picture of me printing that's up. I show them the history. I say, look, now you know there's no reason, there's no excuse because you now know. And people go, wow, I never realized that. Of course, we're going to look after it because you've taught them not to jump on your sofa. You've taught them not to treat your house bad because but we don't do that. We just get mad at employees for not maybe doing what we think they should do, but they don't know.
Well, everyone needs to know the story.
Yeah.
Right. And I like that you do when you every couple of months you have new people come in, they need to know, they need to feel. The people that have been with you the longest that know it don't say it because they've been there so long. And I find, business is storytelling, be it to the customer, to your employees. And I find that everybody enjoys a good story. Everybody enjoys to know that you worked hard. Everybody enjoys, even when you tell them the misery part, but you crawled out of it.
Yeah.
Right. And it just means that you're a fighter and that you're going to do. Yeah. The biggest thing that I've learned in life is, I think every industry is the same. With our industry, there's a lot of talk. Everybody knows everything about everyone else's business. Yeah. Right. And I learned this. Wasn't maybe the best time, but I learned when I got divorced. And I will just say, me and my ex, and I hate using the word ex, we are great. My kids are great. Never said a bad word about her, and what you say about your ex is what you teach your children. So just another little bit of a life lesson on my print podcast. Always say nice things. But I remember when that happened, and within your own community, you hear people talking, and then people say this, and then I start hearing from people, "Oh, I can't believe that settlement you made her, and you did it," or people talk like that, and I go, "Really?" I go, "You heard that?" I go, "Were you in the room?" I said, because I don't think that I spoke. I don't think my ex-wife spoke. The lawyers didn't speak. I said, so please tell me, where did you get that information? Yeah. And then they go white and they shut up because they're called, right? Called out. So my message to everyone, what I do is, unless I hear from the horse's mouth, I don't repeat that stuff.
No, I agree.
Because every person who says it, it changes a little.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the old Chinese whispers, right? So
it's important.
I think on that, it's quite interesting that you talk about that. I've never got involved in other people's politics business wise because everybody.
I put my own.
They're in really trouble. They're running out of cash. Well, tell me about it. I know this. I know, right? They've done this with this. I know because I'm in the same. So there's always the stones, right? And I just don't celebrate people's downfall or wish people bad, whether they're our biggest competitor or not, because it very quickly can turn around and look straight at you.
Karma.
Exactly. So I've always stayed out of other printers' businesses and news. And whenever I've had people go, "Oh, did you know about these guys?" I go, "No, not really." Well, they're a big competitor of yours. Doesn't matter. Makes no difference. If I spend my time worrying about what they're doing, I'm losing what we're doing. And that's always been a thing. But the reason I do all the D-Scoop stuff and the Sheet for Brain stuff and the sharing stuff is I truly believe to stay ahead, if I empty my bucket of all my ideas and I share them, yes, people will try and copy and try and keep up and try and replicate, which is great because it pushes the industry. But by the time they've copied and replicated, we've changed and we're on to the next thing. And so I've always built a network on sharing, not on gossip. And that's always been my philosophy to keep in with people.
We could be brothers, should have known each other earlier, because from the day I started in business, I don't come from a business family. All my learning is on my own.
Yeah,
All
me
my
too.
experiences have cost me millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
I could probably teach a class on restructuring at an MBA school. But it's always, you always just got to be straight up.
You really
Just as
have, and look,
easy
I'm
as
really interested in hearing your story. And we were talking obviously before the podcast
mm.
the story, and the questions I was asking was, what is it like? How did you deal with this? Because I'm sat here and the business is good and we're busy and this and the other, but I'm not stupid enough to know that at some point in time I'm going to be in a period where it's going to be difficult. So it's always interesting to call it
I'm
over.
gonna, you know what? It wasn't on my mind to tell it, but I'm gonna tell because of what we're talking about. I'm gonna tell you a little story about just never knowing people. So I was always going to things. I joined the entrepreneur organization, put myself around other business owners in other industries
Yeah.
that were young folks. It's like a board of directors. I used to go to every print meeting. I was always like by 15 years younger, the youngest guy at these print things because I didn't know. And selfishly, I was going to learn, but I was also going to make connections and maybe hopefully do some business. And I've always done that. And then in terms of sharing, when I bought my big press and I would bring people in and competitors and people say to me like, why are you bringing the competitor in? I go, because I want them to see what we're doing. I want them to be a little nervous. I want them to think about doing it.
Yeah.
I said, but get this, they're never going to do it the way we're doing it because we created it.
Correct. Totally agree.
Right.
100%.
And then on people and meetings. So I had an experience once, and you talk about being open and always the truth. So I did a book for somebody in real estate, and then they gave my name to somebody else, an older gentleman, Mr. Fish, who was in the lock business. Actually, this guy was probably built one of the best lock companies in the world. Right. Started in the 60s. And when he called me, he was 82 to do his book and his life. He was doing a museum of locks, and we're doing that. And when we're talking, he says to me, I own a large format company in one of my buildings. Like, what do you mean? Because I bought it for my son a few years ago, but he doesn't really want to be in it. And I also bought it because I didn't want anybody to lose their job. He knows nothing about it. He goes, so come see it. So I go see it. And then he says, I want to sell it. Make me an offer. So I make him an offer. Lowball offer, just because I thought. Anyway, he called me up and he goes, no good. Anyways, fast forward. I said, well, will you at least give me last kick of the can? Fast forward a month. He calls me. He was away on vacation. I knew where he was when he was coming home. He called me in the morning. He says, Warren, come meet me today. I've been away and I've been sitting up on the hill looking over like my little vineyard. Old guy had a place in Italy. And he's like, I want to talk to you. I've been thinking about you. Well, how you been thinking about me? Maybe you should tell me before I come. And so I go over, and older gentleman, he's going to his office. There's a round table. Would you like a tea? Would you like a coffee? And there's a little plate of cookies on the table. All right, have a cookie. Okay, I'm going to have a cookie. I'm going to have 2 cookies. I start listening to him, and this is what he says to me. He says, I want you to have the company, and I'm going to tell you how the deal's going to go down. And I'm sitting there, and I'm listening. And he says, okay, first of all, we're going to make it, you're going to buy the whole company. I'm going to loan you $500,000. You're going to use $200,000 of it to buy the company. You're going to use $100,000 of it to pay down some of your other debt for something I had. He goes, and you're going to use the other 200 to do the move and get you in, because if you buy the company, you're going to go bust on the move. And I am sitting there like I'm speechless. And then he says to me, you're going to give me 5% interest and you're going to start paying me back when you can. And I'm sitting there and I'm not sure what I heard, because that's not normal. It's not real.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I say to him, and his name was, funny enough, it was Mr. Fish, go figure. And I say to Mr. Fish, I go, why me? Why would you do that for me? And he said to me, and this is what got me, and I just got goosebumps. And he says, when we started talking in general, and I asked you about your business, and I asked you questions, you didn't hesitate on one question. You answered me the good, the bad, the ugly. You told me how you did what you did, and you were passionate about it. And I saw a little bit of me, and he goes, everybody needs some help. He says, when I had my business, I got into trouble. The guy put $100,000 in. He goes, when we sold, he got $100 million. I said, really? Do I get the $100 million? No. But it was more, the point of my story is you just don't know who you meet when and where.
Exactly.
You must always, for the most part, keep your chin up. You must be straight. You must be honest, right? You must be humble.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty humble. Might not be so righteous, but I'm pretty humble. I'm very ethical and very moral, even though I can scream loud, and whatnot.
Yeah.
But life, and then the better one was, didn't end there. We did that, and then I had to renegotiate a $2 million bump on a press that was coming up, the big one. And I called him up and I said, hey, Mr. Fish, I said, can you help me out? Because he used to donate a lot of money to the hospitals.
Right.
When he donated money to the hospitals, his only condition was I negotiate with the machine vendors or the GEs.
Okay, for the kit. Yeah.
Because that's his business. I mean, he taught China how to do things. Anyways, so I called him up and I just said, I need some assistance, some advice, some guidance. It's GE, this is what they want. We're doing this. I want to go 3 years. They want 2. They want this interest. He goes, no. He goes, we don't like those people. He said, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to loan you the $2 million. This is the interest rate. This is what you're going to give me, da-da-da. And then there's going to be a small bump at the end. Does that work for you? And I was like, whoa, what? And I said, I didn't call you for this. Anyway, did up the papers, loaned me the money. I paid him back every single penny. And it just big life lessons about people
100%.
doing for people, feeling good about what they do. And I can't tell you how good I felt.
Yeah.
It just made me feel that all those years of wondering what I'm doing, it took somebody really smart, really experienced to notice me.
Yeah.
Or acknowledge me.
I think certain people recognize integrity, and when you're humble about stuff and you do what you say you're doing and you deliver what you say you're going to do, whether you fail or not is irrelevant. If you try to do what you say you're going to do and you've got that integrity, people recognize that. And I think there's also a level now of vulnerability that I think you need to, anyone who pretends that everything's rosy all the time and the businesses are booming and they're making loads of money and they're wealthy and they're healthy and everything's great all the time, everywhere, in every aspect of their life, is lying. So that little bit of vulnerability, I think, as well, right now, people expect and need because it shows that integrity, I think.
Yeah, so we're running out of time. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that I wanted to bring up, but we'll do it again. But being that we just said what we said, I just wanted to talk about was it last week or the week before on LinkedIn? You and David and Jessica, and maybe there was one other.
Chris Min. Chris Min.
Okay, because I don't want to leave anybody out. Tell us a little bit about the mental awareness and the health talk. Sorry, just before you start, really, when I sat on that and when he was talking and everyone was talking, like, I felt good enough to put my thing down on the side for people to see when you talk about vulnerability, because if people don't see some of the people out there that they see all the time, people look at me and probably think I live the life of Riley. I do not. My knuckles are raw. I drag on the ground. I've been through the worst of everybody, but I smile because I figured it out. Yeah. So I want to help people like you guys. But anyway, tell us about that.
How you've just summarized the importance of you feeling like the end of a session where you want to open up and share, that is exactly what we set it up for. So we met together at D-Scoop in Indianapolis. I was on stage at D-Scoop. I had 9 minutes to talk about how I was stepping down as chair. I had this big speech. I decided to rip it up and talk about the stress, the trauma, the difficulties of losing key clients, change, being brave, suddenly at nearly 50, finding myself irrelevant because my daughter had asked me, was I still relevant, and all this sort of stuff. And it was a really emotional 9 minutes, and it hit a chord with a lot of people in the audience. And afterwards, David came and said to me, he said, we need to do some stuff together because that really is what I'm about. And then Jess independently asked me, and so did Chris. And we basically found out the four of us were already talking about it, but we all had that same belief. And that is that it's about time for people who are recognized, who everyone thinks is dead cheerful and life's great, actually starts owning up to the fact that it's not great a lot of the time. And it can be good, but you got to work really hard to make it good. And it's not that easy. So, the old grey beard like me, along with, Chris Min, who's younger, but he's had his difficulties, and David is well documented his mental health challenges in his family. And Jess is a working mum and gone through some challenge as well in the family, bringing kids through. So the four of us, we got together. We shared all our stories. We opened up and said, if we're comfortable doing it with each other, maybe we could do this. And we did. And we just said, you know what, this is, if we can just help one person in our industry, one person just hears one of us say something about ourselves and solves that problem for them, it's worth it. So we've started this Sheet for Brains initiative. It's been fantastic. We're getting so much support. We had 60, 70, 80 people now joining the sessions. We've got a private LinkedIn page. And we're just so proud of what we're able to and what we've created so far. This, what we feel is a safe house where people join, exactly like you said. They join, they listen, and by the end of it, they go, actually, I need to share my story because I think I can help one other person as well. And that's what we're really proud of starting. So actually at D-Scoop in Long Beach, we're going to have a session where we're going to have like a live one of these podcasts, just so you know. It's going to be fantastic. And we're also going to have a place in the showcase for people to come and talk to us about mental health and share stories as well. So no, we're really pleased with how that's going. It's a big passion of ours.
Yeah, listen, life is big. And I think when we work, even the 5-day working all the time, even as owners, we have to acknowledge that our people have families and get to spend some time with them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Anyways, half of what we talked about wasn't really my plan, but those are the best plans when they don't go the way you want.
Yeah.
You got to get off. I got to get off.
Somehow I felt that might happen.
Yeah, really, just a little. We can make it a docu-series. But yeah, so first I'm going to thank you for your time and the conversation. I gratefully appreciate it. To people out there, I sure hope you made it this far. If you did, tell someone else to stick it out till the end next time. If anybody wants to hear anything in particular, let me know. If you want to be on, let me know. Really, I just want to promote print. I want to promote people. I want to promote our industry. I want to promote that printing is alive in every aspect, maybe changing. Well, you know what? I'm going to take that as a double promo as put that back. I'm taking a screenshot. Why is it not screening? Well, hopefully it's screening. I'll take a picture after. But so everybody, thank you again. Keep listening, and we're going global. So if I could be of any help to anybody, just let me know. John, again, thank you. All the best. And we will be speaking again soon.
We will. Thank you, Warren.